Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of MPH Motoe Performance and Health. We got Coach Robb Beams here with us. I'm your host, David Pingree, and we're going to talk about something today that affects probably every single one of us at some point in our lives, and that's low back pain. What causes it? What are some ways to prevent it? And how do we get rid of this? Talk to me.
Yeah, low back pain is it's a real deal for us because you think about how many times we stand up and sit down on this bike. And, you know, even as we're sitting right here, notice how your quads are coming in at a 90-degree angle. And, you know, all that does throughout the day is just cause that angle joint just to get tighter and tighter and tighter. Then, you know, what other sport are you going to be going from a seated position and up and back? I mean, I would be cool to do a video, see how many times you stand up in one lap at your favorite track. When we overuse those muscle tissues, you know, if you look at your quads, they go from your top of your kneecap, the patella tendon, insert up at the top of the hip bone. Every time you use that muscle, like any other muscle, it just tends to get shorter and shorter and shorter. Well, now what ends up happening is those quad muscles are pulling down and tilting the pelvis forward. So for the listeners, think about when you're sitting in the doctor's office and they have that chart of the pelvis. So the muscles, if you're looking at the pelvis from the side, the muscles on the front are grabbing and they're pulling them forward and down. So what that does is that causes the front of the pelvis to tilt down, and then you get that curvature in the lower of your back called lordosis. So now you got that curvature. We go, oh man, my low back is killing me. So the natural tendency is to think, hey, I'm going to go and I'm going to figure out how to stretch my quads. That's the worst thing you can do. And I want the listeners at home to try this. Put your right leg up on a desk or a chair, put your foot up, and then try to do a hamstring stretch. You'll start to feel that burn in the bottom of your knee and the back of your leg. That's what we call the myotatic stretch reflex. So what it is, it's essentially a self-defense mechanism in the belly of the muscle tissue, specifically the Golgi apparatus. It's a neuromuscular message that goes to the brain that says, hey, you're about to tear the muscle. So if you're holding one end of the rope and I'm holding the other, if we have it nice and tight and somebody walks up and pushes the middle of it, it's either going to pull it and burn it out of my hand or yours. Mm-hmm. Or you and I can move one step closer and we make the tension in the tissue less. When the muscle's already tight, and I don't want to lose the listeners, you're standing up and sitting down, the quads get tighter, just tilts the pelvis forward and pulls it down. Well, now you've got that curvature in the small of your back. Now you're going to go stretch a muscle that's already guitar string tight. This self-defense mechanism invokes. It's trying to bring the two ends closer. In the muscle world, we refer to it as an origin and an insertion. Every muscle has both. Well, its only goal is to get the two ends closer. So here you're trying to stretch something that's already tight. The self-defense mechanism is to protect it. That's why we end up tearing something when we stretch.
Okay.
So the catalyst for why it's tight is because how much we use our quads and then sitting. Whether it be at work or whether it be driving to and from the track, this is the worst anatomical position we can ever be in. So we only make it worse. Then we exacerbate it by trying to stretch it. The way to fix it is to not stretch it, but rather foam roll it. You know, when you and I, if you take the skin and you start to massage it, whether by, you know, squeeze and release or by friction and massage, that's what the foam roller does, is it just literally changes the message and the consistency of the tissue. Direct pressure is a message to the brain that says, hey, let's open this blood vessel up. Warm blood goes in. The warm blood elongates, just like a piece of metal. Anything that's cold tightens. Mm-hmm. Anything that's warm elongates. So when we're looking at trying to get the tension out of the origin and the insertion of a muscle, best thing to do, foam roll it, let it open up with warm blood. Now that muscle's less prone to you all of a sudden trying to put a stretch in. I still don't want you to stretch. Let's say we're getting ready to go ride. Do foam rolling, get geared up, go do 2 or 3 laps like you said, do a stand-up drill, let the blood flow get into the legs, slowly bring your speed up on the track. Now you're done for the day. You're out of your gear. The muscle temperature is at its highest. That's the time to do single-legged stretches. Quads, make sure you get all 4 of them. Hamstrings, lower lumbar. Nothing aggressive, just maybe sit and twist. There's a multitude of things. We have them on our website that you can check out. But to your point, that's the cause of it, and that's the best way to turn it around. Get back home. If you have the luxury of a jacuzzi and a pool, do what we call contrast therapy. It doesn't have to be, you know, freezing, and it doesn't have to be boiling. A 10, 12-degree difference is enough.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be crazy. Okay. I always look at it this way. If I'm putting you into a bucket of ice, how much are you going to want to do that tomorrow? Yeah. You know, if I put you in boiling water and you feel like a lobster, how apt are you going to want to do that tomorrow?
Yeah.
Let's set ourselves up for some success by saying, look, the body's going to respond to slight temperature deviations. Usually a jacuzzi and a pool, that's ideal because you have your jacuzzi at 100, your pool is probably 72 to 75 degrees. That would be ideal. You say, yeah, but Rob, you said 10 to 12 degrees. I'm just saying, let's find a range that you're going to tolerate.
Yeah.
Because I'm not good with cold, so I don't care what you tell me it's going to do for me. If it's brutal, I'm not going to do it.
Let me dispel some myths or confirm or deny. I've always been taught to protect your low back, you need to work on your front. So good abdominal strength, lots of core exercises and things like that. True?
100% true.
What power dot? I like that for the massage feature for your low back, but there's also a variety of different massage types that it has and frequencies that it has and durations, and you can change the intensity. To me, great for post riding. A lot of times, I don't know if anyone's noticed this, you have a long day at the track, jump in your truck, 30, 45 minutes, drive home an hour, and you get there, and when you go to get out of the truck, that's when it's like, oh man, it's bad. Throw that power dot on, do a couple massages on the way home, and all of a sudden you get out and it feels nice.
No, and to your point, we're here in San Diego. We're from Orlando. Well, we can't travel with massage rollers and all that. Michaela only travels with the power dot. And we got out here. We're from Flat, Florida. We're in San Diego. We're loving the hills. We're loving the cooler weather. And she's like, man, my legs I'm really feeling this. And we flew in on a Friday. We ran on Saturday. She did power dot that night. And the next day, she was faster than she was the first day. And, usually when you're traveling, it takes a couple days to get going. And again, not just because Power Dot sponsors your show, this stuff works. And the fact that it literally can fit in a woman's purse, it could fit in your nice computer bag, whatever it is. And because it does have warm up, it does have a cool down, it does have all kinds of different modalities for different therapies. Let's say you do take a digger, it's got a modality for it. And it had to offset that inflammatory response. If you got back-to-back ride days, some of us are not always fortunate to ride back-to-back, and you get a weekend away and you're like so pumped, what do? We ride ourselves to a miserable state on Friday, and at least that can keep you back so you can ride again on Saturday. So we don't leave home without our power dot because of its convenience. I don't mean to embarrass Michaela, but a lot of times she'll do power dot while she's cooking because we'll have big days. I mean, we train hard. I mean, we it's a lifestyle for us. It's just not something, we train hard. We're fortunate enough that we do our workouts early in the morning. When I say early, we do mid-morning. But, for the rest of the day, we're at work and we're doing videos and doing other stuff. And she loves to cook. I don't like to cook. She loves to cook. I'm a good cleanup guy. I can clean a mean bowl.
Okay.
But she likes to cook real food. And it's interesting. You come in and she's wired for sound. She's got, because we're fortunate enough, we've got a couple of them, and she's all over. She's got the pods on, and her legs are quivering. And I'm like, sweetheart, what in the world are you doing over there? She's like, and I knew what she's doing, but I'm like, what setting do you have that on? It looks like you're trying to, really. And she's like, no, it's just, and I feel so good afterwards. And then this is and again, I'm not sponsored by Power Dot or anything else. I'm just a big fan of it. I can always tell the next day because on the warm up, she's quicker. And I'm like, what is your heart rate? And she's like, well, that's the same range. And I'm like, dang gum, what a difference. And it always is a huge epiphany for me because I'm always trying to find ways to get more out of the human body in a healthy way, in a systematic way, but a sustainable way.
Sure.
We have a mantra board up in our office, and I like to adhere to the KISS program. Keep it simple and sustainable. Most of the listeners may have jumped on, keep it simple, stupid, because we always go into this punishment mode. Again, I'm not a rah guy, but what frustrates me is it's real easy for me to get in front of the camera, in front of our listeners, and hellfire and brimstone. Make it so absolute. Make it so hardcore. Dude, I don't want to live like that. I don't want our listeners to feel like they have to live like that. I'm trying to balance a family and a job. You are, they are. Let's be realistic here. And I'm just going to, always share with our listeners what we know works and the truth. Stretching doesn't work when you're cold.
Yeah.
You're going to tear something.
Yeah.
But you get somebody that's heck bent that's that mantra and that's their platform, and they're going to prove me wrong. Well, that's all right. I've been doing this 38 years. I've seen more people report to our wellness clinics because of stretching than because of exercise.
Yeah.
It's just, like you say, understanding the why.
Well, and that's probably another great topic for down the road is the right way to stretch and warm up.
Yeah.
We have done warm up, but
we have those on our website. If you go to Complete
Okay.
Racing Solutions, once you get the muscle warmed up, use the power dot before you go out and you ride and you're done for the day, then take those single muscle isolated, one muscle, we call them single muscle isolated stretches, big word. don't do it the wrong way and hurt yourself. You know, you'll see guys trying to stretch their quads and they're just taking their heel and they're just burying it against their butt. Well, that's just putting a lot of distress on the patella tendon above and below. Now you say, oh, my knee hurts. Well, yeah, because you just torqued the shit out of it.
You just put
trying
your
to
foot by
stretch
your
your
ear.
quad. Yeah. So just knowing how to do it the right way.
Well, a ton of great resources over there. Check out CompleteRacingSolutions.com. All kinds of stuff for warm-up, for training, for nutrition. Can't recommend that enough. And he's also got memberships over there that can really get engaged with you if you're looking for a more personal kind of situation. So
Happy to help.
thank you, and stay tuned. We'll be back with more MPH videos.